Good everybody, welcome. This is Paul Flynn at MegiddoFilms.org and MegiddoRadio.com for the 8th of March 2016. This is just a quick vlog. I'm just going to talk about Hillary Rodham Clinton, who, as many of you are aware, is running for the Democratic nomination for the U.S. presidency. Now, she claims to be a Christian. Now, going by her daughter's claims that she left, or that the family left, the Clintons left a church, a Baptist church, when Chelsea Clinton, her daughter, was 6 years old. Why? Because they were against abortion. They were one of those horrible churches that is not for the murder of the unborn. I'm going to play a clip here this is from yesterday, I think, March 7th, and listen to Hillary talking about her position on restrictions to late-term abortion. Should never be allowed at any stage, but let's listen to this.
Think a child should have any legal rights or protections before it's born? Or do you think that there should not be any restrictions on any abortions at any stage in a pregnancy?
Well, again, let me put this in context because it's an important question. Right now, the Supreme Court is considering a decision that would shut down a lot of the options for women in Texas, and there have been other legislatures that have taken similar steps to try to restrict a woman's right to obtain an abortion. Under Roe v. Wade, which is rooted in the Constitution, women have this right to make this highly personal decision with their family, in accordance with their faith, with their doctor. It's not much.
You know, when I remember when I heard this first, I was like, women have the right to murder their babies and make this private decision. Are you kidding me? How about I said in another scenario? A Muslim family has the right to kill their apostate child for leaving the Islamic faith. It's a private decision based upon their faith. Of course, nobody in the sane, that is not insane, nobody would sanely put forth that argument, but it's the same idea. Because they do not view children in the same way Islam sees infidels, especially women, etc., those who apostatize, as less than human. And we have in the Islamic world honor killings. I'm just giving that example. And people would rightly condemn such activity. But there's a modern day Holocaust going on in the United States and across the world in the name of a woman's right to choose. Let us be clear what we are dealing with here. A woman's right, quote unquote, to murder her unborn child, and not, in a lot of cases, okay, there's rape and incest, but that only counts for a tiny, tiny percentage of most abortions. In a large amount, this is a way for people to escape responsibility for their own actions. And regardless of how that child came into this world, it will never justify the killing of the unborn. I don't care who backs it, who stands upon it, whether it be Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump. And Donald Trump is very weak on this issue as well. I hope he's changed his view, because I see he probably will get the Democratic, or not the Democratic, but the Republican nomination. Let's continue.
Of a right if it is totally limited and constrained. So I think we've got to continue. We've got to continue to stand up for a woman's right to make these decisions and to defend Planned Parenthood, which does an enormous amount of good work across our country.
Yeah, very good work. Selling of body parts and selling them, well, you know, they were caught doing it, but who gets in trouble? Not Planned Parenthood. No, they're wonderful. They do wonderful work for women. They dispose of what the liberals would just want to refer to as tissue, not a human being. It's disgusting, but let's continue.
Just to be clear, just no without any exceptions.
No, I have been on record in favor of a late pregnancy regulation that would have exceptions for the life and health of the mother. I object to the recent effort in Congress to pass a law saying after 20 weeks, no such exceptions, because
when exactly would you, and it's horrendous at any stage of the pregnancy, this is a human being murdered in the place which should be safest of all, in the mother's womb. And I don't know the statistics, but it seems like the most dangerous place on the planet to be right now is a mother's womb. Not because of in the past you would have had many problems and difficulties having children based upon cleanliness and lack of hygiene. No, today we have all the facilities that would allow most children to be born safely and healthily if we actually wanted that. No, we actually go in there using a medical doctor to either chemically or otherwise kill a child. Hillary Clinton doesn't. Where's the line? I know it's murder either way, at whatever stage of the pregnancy it is. But even if she has a problem, if somebody says at 20 weeks, beyond that, nothing. Which side of the birth can you murder your 1-year-old child? Can you murder him the baby 1 minute after being born?
Although these are rare, Brett, they sometimes arise in the most complex, difficult medical situations.
Fetal malformities in the
and threats to the woman's health.
Sure.
And so I think it is, under Roe v. Wade, it is appropriate to say in these circumstances, so long as there's an exception for the life and health of the mother.
Okay.
And what happens? There is no line. What happens? You see, and I think people are probably saying this, even people who are maybe on the left on this issue, that it never ends at a certain point. It never is 12 weeks and 20 weeks. It's not enough. Right up until that baby is born, that baby is at risk. And what happens after that baby is born? How much child sacrifice should we accept? None of it. Government's role is not to defend a quote-unquote woman's right to choose the death of her child. Government's role, we know from Romans 13, is to subdue evil. And we know this is evil, for the word of God says, "Thou shalt not kill." The 6th commandment as recorded in Exodus chapter 20. This has been Paul Flynn. May God bless you all.